Hi everybody, welcome to CGS's webinar on digital decor printing. I better put my mask on. But before we start, I thought I'd give you a quick introduction of CGS, where we're located, and a little tour of our office. So before I go, I'll put my mask on. We're located in the Butler Square building. It is a short light rail ride from MSP's airport directly to our front door. So once all COVID is over and you have an opportunity to come visit, the trip here is quite easy to make. We've been in this office for 3.5 years, and we're really proud of it. 16,000 square feet. But one of the first things you'll see when you get here is our Intertech Awards. These are granted by the Printing Industry of America, and they recognize innovative technologies in the printing industry to improve the industry overall. And I don't know of any company with more, so we're really quite proud of the technology we bring to the printing industry, and are really proud of our accomplishments. So as you come into CGS, you'll meet people on our staff like Marissa, who are our customer service team, and ensure that you have a great experience. Our administrative offices are located here in Minneapolis, Minnesota for all of the Americas, and you'll find our finance department headed by Adrian Aguilar over my shoulder here. Hi, Adrian. As well as software licensing, sales and additional customer service for all of our products, from software to proofing medias to the scanners. Over my shoulder in that direction is our technical support services team, and they're there to support our customers with troubleshooting their software, talking about ways to improve their workflows and things of that nature. And that team is available to assist you at any time. Like I say, about 16,000 square feet of space in this older building. This used to be a sports bar, FYI. I thought I'd kind of grab a cup of coffee. I'd welcome you to get a cup of coffee as well. 11 o'clock on the West Coast, 12 Midwest, and 1 o'clock Eastern Time. Relax and get ready for a presentation that we think you'll enjoy. But in continuing the tour, over my shoulder, you'll see a fleet of printers, Epsons primarily, and Rolands. An Epson in the background as well. CGS is known and made our mark really by making inkjet proofing really a possibility. The first company to swap approved inkjet proof. Really made getting away from analog and film-based proofing a possibility. So today we've got these printers over our shoulders to support our customers, to do software development, and to kind of continue that innovation that you saw with our Intertech Awards. Markets that we serve are publishing, packaging, wide format, and now industrial decor. And leading our efforts in the industrial decor market are these two scanning technologies. Over in the corner, a Metis DRS 2020 and the Metis Surf 3D. Those aren't the only scanners in the fleet, but they represent kind of the entry-level small format scanning. And the DRS 2020 is our most popular scanner with an image or a scanning bed area of 2 meters by 1.5 meters. So without further ado, we'll get ready to talk to Peter Garlington about digital decor design. Thank you so much. Yes, I am recording. Okay, so CGS started in 1985 in Frankfurt, Germany. And since then it's become the best, the most well-recognized, the most accurate color management software company in the world. 100 employees internationally, with about 25 in the United States. In the US, we operate as CGS ORIS Americas, and we are the official ORIS dealer, distributor, technical service entity, as well as for Metis and Metis software, and AVA and the AVA CAD CAM software. All of these solutions are really designed to make a process that is subjective, objective. We want to use tools that gather surface data, and then we communicate that surface information, color, texture, glossiness, roughness, metalness, in a way that can be repeated. Now, of all the solutions that are in this workflow, you don't have to buy all of them. For example, if you have a scanner already, you could plug that scanner into our workflow. We could measure the results of that scanner and understand its output, and then better communicate that information all the way throughout the process. So that's what our value proposition is to the marketplace. We're compassionate about objective data. People will say beauty is in the eye of the beholder, which I guess that's a tried and true statement, but we think beauty is in the data. Because we want to understand that our proofers, our sample printers, our production printers, that all of our documents align together and that we manage our customer expectations, both in a plant and around the globe. So as I said, this is part of a 3-part series, and we'll be kind of covering this workflow over the course of the next few weeks. Today we're starting with the design process and with Peter Garlington. Yeah, so whether it's image capture, file creation, setting a production standard, working with supply chain partners, including your marketing imagery supply chain, it's all about communicating that image accurately across each of those processes. So that's the big context of these events. Now for Peter Garlington. So Peter, I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing my screen, and I'll hand over the con to you. Okay, you should be the host. That work okay?
I think so.
So we're going to start with the inspiration and design process, and we're really excited for Peter Garlington to be with us today. Peter is with Interprint USA. He founded Garlington Projects, a design and build studio and consultancy firm. Peter has degrees in fine arts and industrial design, is currently the design director for Interprint Incorporated, one of the largest and most influential decor printers in the world. In his 15 years at Interprint, the flooring and furniture panels that they've collaborated with their clients on can be found in every major home improvement, big box store, furniture retailer, every major hotel chain, and large important commercial interior projects, anywhere where flooring and panels are found. Interprint is also real near and dear to our heart at CGS. They were the very first customer of ours in the industrial decor market here in North America, and it really put us on the map. They recognize the Metis technology as giving them the capabilities that they need to expand their design and productivity requirements. So thanks Interprint for that, and Peter, thanks for joining us.
Thanks, Rob, and thanks for everybody who's joining today. As Rob mentioned, my background is as a fine arts and design trained studio furniture artist. I'm fairly deeply rooted in materials and process, and I've been using that toolbox I've built up over many years to create original manuscripts for the decor industry. Along with the studio, I've been with Interprint for 15 years and director of design for North America for the past 10. What you're seeing on the screen is just a sample of one of the tables we just finished up, a prototype for a new coffee table. A little bit about Interprint Group. We are based in Arnsberg, Germany, globally represented here, with production across most continents. Most recently, last year, Interprint was acquired by Toppan Group. Based in Japan, Toppan goes well beyond simply decor print and is involved in just about every aspect of the printing industry, from R&D and inks to security and packaging. After several kind of startups and research dives into digital print machines, Interprint entered the industrial digital print game in 2015 with our first KBA RotoJet. We've added a second machine in 2019 with improved printhead technology. And now that that machine has been proved out, we are scheduled to have the third machine operational sometime in the first half of next year. Here's a quick shot of the second machine, the new RotoJet, in operation in Germany. I'd like to talk a bit about the design development process. In North America, we work both speculatively on open design ideas as well as collaboratively with our customers. That can range from special design requests or design briefs to working with our customers' designers or outside artists that they've chosen to come to our studio and work with us to produce new manuscripts. We like to take long view on our developments. We're generally looking at about 5 years out, and this, having that kind of long view helps us start to look at new ideas and new concepts, source the materials, have time to get them into the studio, work with those materials in the studio to create the manuscripts, and then get them into kind of the presentation print space where we're showing them to customers. We understand that our customers' design decisions to end product in the market can take anywhere from a year to 18 months from initiation of the design process to having final marketing and collections launched. So if we're not at least a couple of years ahead of what the current trend is, our customers get behind the game when we're at the other side of that.
You'll often have a friend in the office to help you with your plank selection?
Yes, that's our trend dog. Well, some dogs are, bred for, bomb or drug sourcing. This dog here, spots trend.
Wow, it's impressive.
One advantage we have at Interprint is our material studio. It's a 7,000 square foot shop where we can get our hands dirty. Based on our research or customer requests, we go out, source the materials, and once the materials are in the studio, we work with them to attain desired effects or surfaces. Then they're brought into Interprint for scanning, and thus starts the digital process. We can see some of the materials here. Wood manuscripts and stone slabs are held for a period of time after scanning. Some of them we can reuse by taking back whatever surface we've applied and reworking them. But generally, once we've got the material scanned, that set of boards is retired. The studio allows for some interesting exploration outside of the typical wood and stone processing that we would do. This is an example of a project where we sourced about 200 pounds of used denim jeans from our local Goodwill store and began a series of experiments and tests looking at different ways to upcycle or reuse the denim. One of the more interesting ones we found was impregnating them with resin, stacking them up, and then milling them back with machines and sanding to reveal this kind of damask pattern. Understanding that we were just laying up these strips of resin, of denim and resin, we wondered if we could do a similar thing with veneers, and we translated that same kind of idea and look into some panel.
That's really gorgeous.
Once the materials get processed through the studio, they come into Interprint and are scanned on our new Meta scanner, and thus starts the digital process. Once we have the materials digitalized, we can begin the layout process and move on to decor. Some of the early kind of pros and cons of rotoprinting, of course, is the fact that rotogravure has been optimized over time for commodity printing. The pluses are, very high print quality, run speeds, large volume orders, established quality control, and easy repeatability. A couple of the drawbacks is we are not a CMYK printer. We don't process print. We do mixed inks, which tends to slow down our color match times. And the biggest restriction tends to be the size of the cylinders that we're printing with. Our cylinder size is, generally speaking, a third of the size of what the largest panels being produced at kind of 5 foot by 12 foot would be. Because roto has been optimized for commodity printing, the size of the production runs compensate for the longer color match times. When we first started thinking about rotogravure and digital, we had some preconceived ideas of what our customers would want. As a primarily rotogravure printer, we naturally wanted to use digital as a way to eventually increase our core business. These ideas were based on decor design and separation for roto printing and not taking full advantage of everything that digital had to offer. So when we first started, we were thinking that the inking systems that we used for digital and the papers we were printing on had to be able to switch back to roto. That roto would be good for speed to market, for customers to experiment with our current collection, to be able to get smaller runs so that they could do prototype and sampling, that maybe there'd be some custom projects for short run. And then at the end of life of a design, if the customer had deleted the design from their collection and then got a call saying that a customer needed another 500 sheets, instead of going back and doing another minimum order of rotogravure printed paper that they'd end up sitting in a warehouse, they'd be able to do a short run of digital to compensate for that. What I think we've come to realize these days is that the two aren't, that the two are more complementary, and that there are exciting things that digital print can do that we just can't achieve in roto. Some of those things are obviously repeat size once we move away from cylinders. It allows us to play with scale, short runs, collaboration with artists or designers, doing those kind of limited edition prints that may be set for a particular volume and then just turned off, and not really worrying about converting that back to a rotogravure print. And then the idea of playing with the newest technologies of kind of AI and algorithmic printing. Here's some images from Interprint Germany's booth at the ZOW show, where they highlighted the digital print collection. Several of the designs showcased highlight some of the advantages of digital. Some of these advantages are the larger repeat size, doing things like color traps, which are difficult to produce on the roto machines. And the digital collections are an easy way for customers to dip their toe into adding digital to their portfolio. It's a bridge, much like selecting from the printer's regular collection, but with lower order size and more experimental decors. When we start talking about the repeat, these images show the way a typical stone would be repeated over a full sheet of laminate. Even a stone like the marble represented here is fairly advanced for roto printing. In the past, stones would be developed with much less movement and a very small original repeat that would be stepped out from an original not much bigger than a piece of tile. The resulting decors were homogeneous and regular with little dramatic movement. As the trend in residential kitchens moved to more unique and dramatic stone looks, full slabs became important, and the ability to capture the look and feel in a laminate surface was kind of the big desire. Here, the biggest restriction was the cylinder circumference. When we do these sorts of design developments, we end up buying full slabs of stone, scanning the whole slab, breaking it down into its original elements, and then putting it back together into a pattern that is balanced and can be wrapped around the cylinder. And we try to do that in such a way to improve the balance of the stone and reduce any tracking when we get into that kind of 2.5 repeat on a single sheet of laminate. Again, it doesn't show up as much on countertops as it does on the big islands and of the open kitchen and open floor plans. Here, the digital machines we're running in Germany right now can do repeats up to 5 meter. And that 5 meter repeat is really a restriction of throughput of data. The size of the files of a 5 meter long, high resolution, full width decor is a massive data file. So as technology advances and the computers and drivers get faster and faster, we'll be able to create larger and larger repeat size. If we look at a 5-meter repeat, the red square here shows what a typical rotogravure or a large rotogravure cylinder covers out of that repeat. Now, unlike those first marbles that we saw, we can do a full virgin stone at 5 meters long, which would give you a full version sheet at 5 foot by 12 foot. Another exciting thing about digital is the idea of playing with scale. Whether we're taking images to a hypersize or reducing the scale to achieve a sense of material, taking the scale away from the 1-to-1 ratio that we typically play with creates new opportunities. So taking these pine needles up to a kind of intense scale for large dramatic effect, or doing something like taking an image from the Hubble telescope of a nebula, reworking that and turning that into kind of a stone or simulated stone design gives us kind of other alternatives rather than just going and shopping for stone. This image is based on 6 large-scale kind of ink drawings that we played with in the studio. They were stacked up and blended together in Photoshop. And on a full sheet repeat, you could, with digital, you can start thinking about negative or white space. In Roto, if we were to try to float a design like this with the amount of white space around it on the cylinder, and have that repeat, and then you had an island, you'd have these kind of 3 big blotches up the middle rather than having kind of one big homogeneous design. Another interesting opportunity is to take the idea of originally roto-printed wood grain with a small repeat, take a graphic image that has a extra large repeat, a graphic something like this at 5 meters, and then digitally print over the roto-printed paper. If we do something like this, as the wood grain repeats underneath the line art, and we sheet it, every sheet becomes unique because the line art is traveling at a different rate of repeat than the wood grain underneath. So these kind of ideas are a little bit more fun. We could do the same sort of thing with a V-groove line and shadow. So you could have a kitchen with upper cabinets with one wood grain, and then that same wood grain with a V-groove effect for the lowers of the island. Once we get into the digital side of things, there's a lot of possibilities. This is on the right is a concrete slab that we just did recently and scanned. And then that same slab manipulated digitally by playing around with contrast and filtering to create additional images. Mixed images, of course, create unique designs. This mixed image is coarse concrete with a graphic overlay inspired by the view of farmland from 30,000 feet in a flyover. We just trialed this print on the second machine in Germany, and the results were pretty stunning. To me, this is an interesting direction, one that brings together what we know about traditional decor design and blending it to take advantage of what the digital machine has to offer. Playing around with the resurgence of 8-bit video games, we did a pattern called 8-bit marble, where we pixelated a traditional Calcutta. When you walk into a room from any sort of distance, it looks like a fairly regular marble. But once you get up close and approach the design, you can see that it has a more 8-bit nature. The idea here was that it would be good for commercial markets, hospitality, retail, or even the office segment for tech and offices. And Interprint's Germany did a really nice limited edition decor based on the weavings of the Bauhaus textile studio. And this one was done for the 100th anniversary of the Bauhaus last year. Digital for digital's sake. I'd like to take look at just a few examples where the ideas of digital production and design are intersecting. It's clear that digital is being used across a wide array of products and industries right now. How we on the decor side choose to interact with the digital is still developing. We can use it to make small changes and product improvements, limiting ourselves to our ability to shift back to decor and rotogravure printing when volumes increase, or we can look at digital developments as standalone decors. As we've seen with most successful technologies over time, quality and speeds increase, size and usability improves. And the limitations of digital today may not be there in 5 years from now. While not decor, Jan Kleff is a rug designer, and his series are pretty spectacular. This one, Erased Heritage, takes traditional decors or repeats and motifs from traditional rug weaving. He takes those back into Photoshop, manipulates them, erases areas, and then takes that digital file, sends it back to the traditional process, and then has hand-knotted rugs made of his digitally created design. So the interesting thing here is he's using digital for the design development, but traditional methods for production. Bill Amberg's studio in the UK, and some of his collaborations here with Marcel Wonders, Faye Toogood, and Tom Dixon. This studio is based on very traditional leather craft, but he uses digital print on full leather hides to create unique surfaces for his products. So now he's taking kind of the opposite approach, where he's using digital for the production of the surface, but more traditional processes on the other side. Mooi Carpets, Mooi furniture brand out of the Netherlands, is very experimental on their furniture side. And when they went to find a rug and accessories partner, they couldn't really get what they wanted. So they went to some digital print and started producing their own rugs. One great example about the ability to customize, Mooie's showroom in London during London Design Fest 2018. They did the Eyes of London. There's a shot of my daughter getting her iris photographed, and they would send you a nice high-res photograph of your eye, and if you wanted, you could get a carpet made of that print that they had taken. I had threatened to get my eye photographed, which I did, and told her that I was going to have a rug produced and give it to her on her way to college so that she could have my eye watching her throughout her college days. So
that probably wasn't too popular.
And lastly, these projects is AI. And in October 2018, Christie sold their first piece of AI-generated art for a ridiculous amount of money. This painting was based off of 2 algorithms and a massive load of images scanned from museums, classic portraiture galleries. So one algorithm would scan for and work with creating images and brushstroke, and then the other one would scan those and kick out anything that was directly representative of another painting, and created an entire family of family portraits. The most telling thing about this on the AI side is the artist's signature being the algorithm in the lower right corner.
Yeah, that's cool.
as more and more museums kind of get their collections online, it'll be easier and easier for these kind of AIs and algorithms to get there and filter out things and create new art and new designs, which is probably the one thing that could potentially put me out of a job.
The robots are coming.
Yes. As we know, kind of digital print is a tool, and it's one that we certainly need to learn how to use. I know that artists and designers have always looked at the technology of their day and thought, how can I use that? You know, where are the limits, and where is there flexibility in how we can use these tools or these machines? You know, if we think about Charles and Ray Eames and the shell chairs that they developed, the fiberglass shell chairs, they really took the technology of the day and bent the technology to be able to create their vision of that chair, you know, and launched an entire new production method. Design gets interesting when we work near these edges of those limitations and flexibility. When we push the technology or the tools in order to produce and achieve the designs that we are envisioning. On the other hand, designs tends to get a little boring or feel less than when the designer bends their thinking about a design in order to accommodate the limitations of the tool. That's all for now, I guess. I know that Rob and I would be happy to answer some questions if anybody has questions.
Let's see, we don't have any in the Q&A panel just yet. Our chat panel wasn't too busy either. So let's see, I'll give it a couple minutes if anyone wants to ask something.
Should I stop sharing there?
You can keep sharing.
Okay.
Yeah, keep sharing. Let's see, do you have the host? There you go. Okay. Let's see, coming in. Somebody started to type something, then stopped. Well, let's see, why don't we leave it there? Of course, on the screen are our contact information for myself and for Peter at Interprint. We're glad you took the time to join us. We're excited. We hope you'll join us for our next two seminars. The next one being, if you can go to the next slide, Peter, is our second session tomorrow, or rather, not tomorrow, next Wednesday, with scanning and taking that scan information, including all the attributes, color, texture, glossiness, and working with that to create a design template. So that'll be a little bit more technical in nature, and we hope you'll join us September 2nd at this same time, same location. Thank you all very much. And I got a question about how do I get the video. Thank you, Joseph. You can put a note in the chat session, and we will make sure we have your contact information from Zoom, so we'll make sure that we can get that to you. Yeah, so do that. Leave a chat. Okay, great. And then we'll get the video and the PowerPoint deck to you. Thank you very much, everyone. All the best to you, Peter. Thank you so much for your time and for your insights. Again, thank you for being such great customers. Everyone else, be safe, and we'll look forward to seeing you next time. Thank you very much.
Thank you.